When I was preparing my energy for this reading, as I always do, I open up my energy and I ask my guides and spirit, what does this collective need to know today? And two things came forth. So I think we're going to have to make this a part one, with this being the first reading, and then we'll do a part two. Now, the first reading that came through will actually be the second reading. And the first reading that came through is really all about the mother wound. For those of you that are really working on that shadow space within where there is a mother wound and how that affects you in your daily life, but also how you can heal and grow through that. That will be the second reading. So look for that, which will be coming in right after this one. But the first reading we're going to actually start with is the witch wound. And we're going to be looking at the energy around past lives and energy that has held you back. This will be more than likely connected to a witch wound. So if you feel like this could be for you, stay tuned. It is the beginning of October. It is really the season when the veil begins to thin. For those of you that tend to connect with spirit regularly, you may feel as though this is your time of year. And so when I was opening up my energy field and asking the question of my guides, what do we need to know for today for this collective? They said two things. First, they said the mother wound, and let's do a reading about that. But then they also said, let's do the witch wound. And so that's the one I'm going to do first. So make sure that you check out the next reading too. So if you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. My name is Carey, and I'm excited to be with you today. So let's just stay tuned. If you're new here too, please let me know in the comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and I will say hello to you. I'd love to connect with the new friends that come into our sacred space. So welcome. So I've really felt drawn to all the decks that I pulled for today are all of my, I would say, decks that are the most earthy and the most reflective. They have the most depth. They provide us with places for looking at shadow. And so we'll be pulling from those today and just seeing what spirit has. Now, one thing is I am a past life regressionist. I do past life readings, past life healings, and I work in the Akashic Records, teach the Akashic Records to students. So the space I work in on a spiritual level and a psychic level tends to pull from that in my readings. And so that's one of the things I think we're talking about here. So I just want to say the first vision I'm getting is of a spider web. Now, the spider web is actually a very sacred spiritual symbol. It also can represent the web of life, how everything is interconnected, but also how we spin things. And if you look at it from the perspective of shadow, karma, even pain and stories, if we looked at a web, we can see that that can spread out throughout our lives and makes things either interconnected or can catch things in it and trap us. So as we're in this reading, my intention is that you will gently release this pattern of the witch wound as we're beginning to talk about it. And that's one thing I usually set my intention for as a healer and a Reiki master, that if it's your time to let this go, so be it. And let me know in the comments if this resonates. We're going to be doing more of a traditional Celtic cross spread. It feels important. And it also feels as though there is a rich history that we draw from in tarot, which can really help show a life path pattern. And for those of you that have a witch wound or you identify with that, more than likely you've had more than one life where you were persecuted as a witch. But if we think about the energetics of the witch wound, we can see that And it doesn't matter if you identify with being male or female or non-binary, this wound has affected many people, and many people who are incarnate right now on the earth. And so things might feel like you're being triggered by either a dominating male patriarchal energy, and that's bringing it up to the surface, the past life wound, or in general, maybe you're feeling more passive and not able to express yourself, or you're on your spiritual path and you're feeling as though you can't talk about it with people that are in your environment. So if this is resonating for you, then please let me know. And again, we're setting the intention that we are releasing this together gently, easily, and effortlessly. So what's coming up for me right away is we have the representative of this is your symbol. This is where you are now on your journey as a soul releasing this. And so we have the Two of Pentacles. But notice we also have the butterfly here. And the butterfly we know is going through a metamorphosis and releasing and spreading its wings. And that just gives me the chills when I think about that, because part of the butterfly's process that makes its wings strong are having to burst out of the cocoon. And I can literally feel that moving in just around where there would be wings on my shoulder blades. So that activation is happening for you. And what I find interesting is that what's crossing this, and I just totally got a sense of that vertigo timelessness sometimes when I'm in, not quite here in this moment, but also in the ether. And so I feel this shift happening. The interesting thing is that look at what's crossing this butterfly. It is the sun, which is that massive energy of, let's call it representing your soul's energy. And if you think about it from within all of us, I know I feel that way on my path, that sometimes I'm literally breaking out of a cocoon. And we can feel it in our muscles and our bones and in our energy, and that energy of feeling trapped, but then expanding. And for me, with all of you in this collective that resonate with this is you trying to really achieve freedom, to feel liberated on your path so you can express yourself, so you can do what you came here to do in this lifetime. And remember that it's not a small thing, being liberated and sovereign in your life and feeling that sense of freedom of being able to be yourself. We don't always have to do a huge soul mission of what we're here to do. Really living in joy and happiness and feeling as though we're supported in a loving environment and we can offer that. That's such an accomplishment when it comes to spiritual, one's spiritual path. So where you've just been, we'll go back to where we've just been. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is in the recent past. We also have on here, if you can relate, I'm seeing this. We have an owl here. We have the moon card. And then also we have this beautiful, it almost looks like if you ever, this is really talking about something from a long time ago, but when I went to camp as a child, we used to make this, we took 2 sticks and we would cross them. And then we would take yarn and weave in and out of the sticks, making sort of almost like I don't want to say macrame, but this whole ornamental, earthy piece. And we would take that home and put it on the mantle or something. This is what that reminds me of. You can see the little intricate details. So what that's saying is that, we're going back to this place of origin, back to the root of what this wound could have been. Especially I'm thinking about my own childhood, going back to those times when I felt I couldn't express myself. And I think that's probably for this collective as well. But we are unraveling that yarn so that we can come back into this place of freedom and expansion. And also we have with the owl, if you see the symbol of an owl, for me, that's a big signal for me. And I work with the goddess Hecate. So for me, one of her symbols is an owl. And so that's her, showing up for some of you or your guys helping you unravel these karmic threads. And if we go back to the beginning of this reading and we think about that spider web we talked about, right? And how it interconnects everything. If you pull one string or one part of the web, it affects the rest. And that is really what it's like when you start clearing out past life wounds, is that it affects other timelines for you, other parts of your consciousness. It really brings things, it shifts things from the place you're at in this moment, for example, into something that provides, again, a moment of light, that sun card coming out again. In your subconscious, at the moment, 5 of Wands, this can feel as though there's energy going in a lot of different directions. And if this is happening related to a witch wound or any kind of karmic wounding, something from a past life, it can make our lives feel like they're really getting shaken up, and that we almost don't know how to make semblance of something, how to feel smooth and anchored and grounded. And that's because things are starting to percolate and come up from deep within. And that is, I believe, how spirit works on us and our guides to alchemize things. It comes in, into different parts of our physical bodies and our energy bodies, our auras and our system. And it kind of goes in and breaks things up, and things are interconnected in our energy, also in our chakra system, as well as in our clairs, our intuitive abilities, and just how we open up and express ourselves. But I really want to reassure you, because what's the hope is that you're feeling really in tune, and your intuition feels like a very large part of your life. Because above you, you have the High Priestess, which is going from not being sure, where you felt possibly limited and as though you couldn't be yourself, to feeling very clear and certain, and knowing that you are in fact really tapping in to your soul's voice. So one thing I tell my students when they're developing their intuitive abilities, their psychic abilities, is that you have been psychic your entire life and many lifetimes before, especially if you're relating to this reading in some form or fashion. And so when you're waking up, you are just remembering what you already have within you. But at first, it might feel foreign and you may not trust it. And those are those points where you just need to put the analyzing to the side and the doubt to the side, so that you can feel that sense of clarity. And that's part of you opening up and trusting yourself. The witch wound makes us sometimes retreat, hide, fear. It makes us sort of collapse our energy and our power. And what this is saying is that route is being cracked open. And what's left, again, is in your core, which is your intuition. I just love that. What's coming up for you is also, it's so exciting. You have so much great energy coming. So what we're seeing here is the Star card, which especially for that witch wound, if you've been carrying that for lifetimes and you are now at the point where you can see a way, and this might be more recognized on a soul level, maybe not totally conscious, but if it's conscious, I want to hear it in the, put something right below in the comments and let me know. But if you're finally feeling there's a way that you can be yourself, your spiritual self in your life, you've either found a community or you have a way to be able to develop your abilities, the doors are opening and there feels like a way out. And you might not have always recognized this as a spiritual community, but what you recognize it is that you start to feel like you can be yourself. You can be your authentic self, and you feel excited about that. And that range of motion of like limitlessness, that is really coming up here. Now, what I am so excited about is what's coming up for you. And what is coming up for you, like where you are right now, is the 10 of Cups. So remember that, when you get to the number 10, that is completion. And when we're looking at the cups, we're looking at relationships. We're looking at emotions. We're looking at also intuitive abilities. So if you think about your cup being totally full and feeling as though you can share that with other people, whether that be a romantic relationship, a friend group, family, or a community of some type, this is feeling like finally you're putting the pieces back together. A lot of people in past lives, it's like they keep incarnating, and part of the history that happens is you're looking for your people, your group, and your community. And sometimes you have pieces of those connections, but you don't have the full sort of group of you. And this feels like this could really have potential to feel like a really whole group, a holistic group, or a strong group of, we'll call them like pillars of stability in your life, and just this sense of richness. I feel so excited for you. I think that you're at that point where change is finally happening and you're starting to notice it in your life. Now, this is why I know there's support coming in and around you, because we have the 8 of Wands. This is outside support, and this is a community of people that are there to support your swift transition and opening up to this part of yourself, releasing those wounds that have kept you small or not expressing yourself, not trusting yourself, and making these inroads, these moves where people are next to you on the sidelines cheering you on like you're running a race. I get this image of you, either running like a half marathon, or you're even doing something as silly as like a soapbox derby, but you're the one running the race, or riding a bike, and you have people on the sidelines just cheering you, rooting you on this path, which feels like it gives you momentum. It gives you a sense of purpose and validation of that you're on the right track. And then the hopes that you have for this are that you can have the sense of peace and being able to let go and enjoy, and not to have to work so hard at protecting yourself. That there is a sense of grace, a sense of clarity, and a sense of being able to really see beyond just survival, or beyond some of the pain, or beyond not feeling like you can be yourself. So things are just really falling into place here. Now, the outcome for this, which I think is fabulous, is we could call this the Son of Cups, the Prince of Cups, the Page of Cups. You on this new route where you're feeling hopeful, but it's a little new. So you're getting your footing and learning how to trust the world around you and the new connections you have, whether these are going to be the things that are going to stand the test of time, and whether or not these will be the types of relationships that you can count on in the future. And what I'm really hearing from Spirit is trust the process. You may go through a season of, figuring out who your people are, and maybe some people will, like, locations will change. They have lived near you and then they have to move, or you have to move, or people make changes and make other choices. But what the core of what is happening to you is that things are working out in your favor. That is what I'm getting. All right, so I'm going to move on to a message from the ancestors for this. So we'll pull a few cards just to see what the ancestors have to say for you. I'm really feeling that 5th chakra, your throat chakra, activating, clearing, opening up. 8 of Cups, 9 of Cups, and the 2 of Pentacles. I want to remind us that we started this reading with the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles, you're still in a process of deciding, right? So you're weighing things out. You're not quite sure. So when the Two of Pentacles are in the reverse, it does show some stagnation or a holding pattern further of this decision. So the way I know is with tarot is you want to go back one step and see what do you need to understand about the card before this. And psychically, I'm getting this information from Spirit about you really going back to the seed of the Ace of Pentacles, which in fact is really understanding, what do I want to grow? What do I want to invest in? What do I want to build? What do I want to earn? What do I want to experience? And really getting clear on that. And what's beautiful is that your ancestors are saying, well, feel free to walk away from the things that are not fulfilling for you, because possibly you've outgrown some of the conditions, the relationships, the connections, the communities, the experiences that you've had in the past, because you're growing and changing, and make room for those connections wherever they are, which feel much more supportive to your soul. And then finally, we have the Nine of Cups coming through, which is fulfillment. It's dreams coming true emotionally. It's wish fulfilled. It's emotions just feeling full and complete. And this is all part of that journey that you're on, which is you know, again, healing that witch wound, which is a process, and understanding that now's the time for your own expansion. Final cards we'll do for this witch wound reading. Again, I love doing these readings. They bring me so much joy. I hope they do the same for you. Please let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed this. And if you have any other types of readings you like for me to do, I'm always happy to put those on my list, knowing, sort of the type of scope of readings. My readings, definitely what they have in common is they have depth, and they will lead you towards your own self-reflection and growth and healing. Even if they're a love reading, right? Even if they're a career reading, they have those qualities. So I'm happy to. So feel free. I also am going to be doing a little bit more with zodiac readings too, which I'm doing during my live streams now every Friday, because I did want to invite you. Every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I go live and we do a variety of readings. One of which is the week ahead zodiac readings. And then we also connect to one of the goddesses in our collective. Sometimes we have another benevolent spirit come in to support and give messages, which is amazing. We do reading, we connect with their Akashic records, and I channel that channel what's coming in for our highest good. And then finally, we work with ancestors. It's really special. So I'd love you to be there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is so much validation. I can't wait for you guys to see this. Look at this. This card says karmic path. And then we also have the energy of Saturn. Okay. So Saturn is a planet of restriction, of rules, of bringing you in so you can see possibly where you're limited, right? So we talked about that with the witch wound. And then also here we have the stormy card. So that means obviously with the challenges that came along on this path of it being highly emotional, restrictive, carrying with it that karmic pain, that seal of intensity, and then traveling through that, because look what is coming again for us. We have transformation card. So we have, again, the butterfly. So look for that symbol from your guides. Here it is one more time, twice. That is validation. When we're leading you into on your next, point of your journey. And then finally, we have the divine masculine, which is action steps supporting the divine feminine. So communication, ideas, thoughts, action, supported. Thank you so much for being here. Please let me know in the comments how you enjoyed this reading. I would love for you to come back and see me, so be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Take care.